You start the day in control, but you end it in the kitchen wondering what just happened again. It's not random. There is a version of you that keeps pulling you back into this pattern. In this video, I show you 4 emotional archetypes that keep people stuck in emotional eating and binging. And once you see yours, you will understand exactly why you keep ending up back in the kitchen. You will probably relate to more than one archetypes, but one of them will be the strongest. The first archetype is the hyperachiever. You look like you have it all together. You are disciplined, focused, successful, and maybe even a workaholic. You are so good at covering up your insecurities and showing a positive image. You are like a chameleon and you adapt your personality to fit what would be the most impressive to others. But your mind never shuts off. You are constantly thinking, I should be doing more. This is not enough. I need to be the best at what I do. If I slow down, I fall behind. You suppress your feelings because they would just distract you from achieving your goals, and showing or expressing your feelings would make you feel vulnerable. People would see that maybe you are not as perfect as the image you portray. Even when you succeed, your peace and happiness is short-lived in brief celebrations. Your self-acceptance and self-worth is constantly conditioned on the next success. And at some point, you snap and the urge to overeat hits. And you overeat or binge because you are exhausted from holding yourself to impossible standards. And you overeat because this is the only place when you can stop, the only place where you are not performing, where you can switch off. You also overeat because you can't stuff your feelings down forever, right? It's like a beach ball you try to keep underwater for too long, then your arms getting tired and then it pops up. And as those emotions pop up, they are very intense and even scary. So you have to numb yourself with food. So is your archetype the hyperachiever? Can you relate to this? The next archetype is the caretaker. You are kind and supportive. You are also strong and reliable. People can count on you. Your family and your coworkers, friends keep you in high regard and you keep fulfilling their demands. You have a constant need to prove yourself and please others. Saying no to a request would never happen because the thought of what people might think of you would drive you insane. So you are constantly scanning. Who needs my help? What do they need? How can I not upset anyone? To be a good person, I need to put other people's need ahead of mine. And if I don't rescue people, who will? But secretly, you also think it's really not nice that people don't really care or notice what I've done for them. They are so ungrateful and selfish. But expressing your own feelings and needs would feel like you are selfish. And you are also worried that you would drive people away. So you take on and handle everything and say yes when you want to say no again and again. And by the end of the day, you don't even know what you need. And at night, when everything gets quiet, you turn to food because finally you are get to receive instead of give. Eating becomes the only time that's yours, only yours. So can you relate to the caretaker archetype? The next archetype is the perfectionist. You have very high standards and you want to do everything perfectly and you want to look perfect. You think if you can't do it perfectly, don't do it at all. And you also think that others too often have lax standard. I need to be more organized and methodical than others so things will get done, right? And you hate mistakes. You agonize over tiny details And doing everything is so stressful and it takes longer than it should. And even when you complete it, you finish it, you are still anxious that maybe it's not perfect, maybe you made a mistake. And you're also anxious that others might mess up the order and balance that you created. So you are constantly frustrated and angry with yourself and also with others for not living up to your standards. But mostly you suppress your frustration and anger. You maybe only express it with some sarcastic or ironic overtones. You often work overtime to make up for other people's laziness and sloppiness. This mindset is driven by the fear of being judged or criticized. If you do everything perfectly, no one can judge or criticize you, right? And you also want to look perfect, as I said, so you follow diets very strictly until one slip up. And because you think that you either do something perfectly or not at all, after that one slip up, your brain goes that, well, this is already ruined, so might as well. Today I eat everything I want, and tomorrow I start again perfectly. So you make up for all the lost opportunities in the past and also in the future, because tomorrow you can't eat these foods again and you overeat or binge that day and you start again tomorrow until the next slip up. Can you recognize yourself in this perfectionist pattern? The last archetype I'm going to talk about today is the escapist. You often feel unmotivated, distracted, or bored. You feel trapped in a life that doesn't fit. Life is colorless and dull. It feels like you go through the motions every day. It's always the same. Even the weekends are the same all the time. Maybe you have the life that others envy: a good relationship, a solid job, happy kids, a nice house, fancy possessions, but you are still bored. You may be living in other people's terms. You work where other people think you should work. You live where other people think you should live. And you spend your free time with activities that other people think you should do. You live your life out of alignment with your values. You lost track of who you really are, and your life became boring. So you open Netflix just for a minute with snacks in hand, and after a few hours, you don't even remember what you watched and how much you ate. Food provides stimulation and an escape from life. And you often feel overwhelmed with all the things you need to do, but at the same time, understimulated. So you scroll, you snack, you check out, and you numb yourself. Because life doesn't feel interesting enough to stay present in it. So these were 4 out of the 9 archetypes I observed, and I teach about all 9 of them and also how to outgrow the unhelpful parts that lead to overeating of these archetypes in my Outgrown coaching program. I put a link in the description so you can check out the details. So now you could see that most people try to solve their emotional eating or binge eating at the surface. But when you work with me, we go deeper, we find the root. Because all of these identities are trying to meet a need for rest, support, freedom, safety, expression. And when that need is not met, food comes in, right? Now I'm super curious which archetype you can relate to the most, or which archetypes you can relate to the most. Comment below with the number. And I'm also very curious about your thoughts on this topic. And if you want to know about the other archetypes and how to overcome the eating issues related to those archetypes, because I can make videos on this in the future too, just let me know in the comment. You might be also wondering what my archetypes were, used to be. Out of these 4, the hyperachiever used to be my main one, and some of the perfectionists and the escapists are also relatable. But my strongest archetype is actually between the other 5 that I haven't shared yet. So if you want to know it, just comment below. Of course, I worked on these archetypes so they don't drive me to overeat anymore. And if you also need help to stop emotional eating, binge eating, overeating, that's exactly what I do with my private and group coaching clients. And I also created a free masterclass for you in which I share the 6 mistakes that make you feel out of control around food and what to do instead. And I put the link below if you want to check it out. And to see the psychological patterns behind some of the eating patterns that I showed here, watch this video next. See you soon.